Howdy folks, today I want to show you how to quickly make your very first PvP deck if you haven't done so already. So the easiest way for you guys to do it is to click this button right here, which is a sword. Mine is different, don't worry about that. But the long way, you can go here to decks and you can hit this free PvP button. And this will let you choose any two decks. You can see that I've currently selected the Pure Shadow and the Fire Nature deck. And you can select basically a new deck every single day, every 24 hours it resets. And you can even preview to see what the decks are, right? So let's see that right now I'll basically have access to 40 cards. It'll be these 20, and it'll be these 20. And I guess one strategy you guys can notice is that I picked cards that don't overlap. I could pick something like Fire Nature plus Pure Fire, let's say. There's a couple cards different. I guess the most obvious card is that there's the different color Disenchant. So if I really wanted the green Disenchant, I could run Fire Nature plus Pure Fire, but I've decided to select today these two cards. So then you got this selected, you can just make a new deck. You want to make sure you select free PvP deck when you make this deck. And it's just going to enter a new deck. So I'm just going to do this, name whatever you want, and then you're going to come right here where it says General. These are all the cards you own. So they're going to be the upgrades you paid for, the cards you bought. If you go here, you can access the free PvP cards. And again, there will be 40 here unless your two decks overlap in some way. If they overlap, there will be less than 40, obviously, because they'll overlap. You can see here all the cards in my two decks. So you can see, for example, I could even play Bandits, right? I might want to have, these are all reasonable fire cards, and mine I might, instead of doing Fire Nature, maybe I want to do some Fire Shadow. Maybe I have some of these cards. Obviously, this won't be as good as directly building a Bandits deck, because the direct Bandits deck has different cards. For example, this card and this card and this card and the Wind Hunter and the Minefield. All these cards are not going to be contained in either the Fire deck or the Shadow deck, but you can get most of the way there. And for example, I actually own some of those cards. You can even add regular cards in this deck too, right? If I've got the Minefield, I can add this to my deck. Wind Hunter. So I just want to make sure everybody understands this functionality. The way the free PvP deck works is that you can mix and match your cards with the free PvP cards, combine them however you want. The only restriction is that if you make a deck that is a free PvP deck only, you can't use it in non-PvP modes. But otherwise, there's no restriction. So a lot of times I see people that are like, I want to have, let's say, Spitfire is a really popular one. This card, right? This card is not in the Pure Fire deck. You can see the Pure Fire deck has Juggernaut instead. So some people, they want to have a Spitfire and a Juggernaut, or they want to have just one of them, or they want to have the Spitfire instead of the Juggernaut, or they want to have both. Either way, you might see people build the whole deck from scratch. When you can just take this deck and you can just substitute the Spitfire for one of these other cards, and it's totally fine. So now you guys know how to build your first PvP deck. Or mechanically how to build it. If you're looking for tips, tips might come out in the future, but actually going with the free PvP decks are pretty good. There's there's some things I would disagree with, but they're pretty subtle things, and just copying into these decks will not lead you astray. So with that, go out, build your first PvP deck, and have some fun.